Okay. So are we all okay up to this point?
Yeah, Pastor.
Yes, okay.
Okay. All right. So there are several things you need to know about data science. And data science is not just about you understanding the concept. We have people called research data scientists. They pay more attention to the research aspects of data science. And we have those in the industry who also pay attention to data science, but from a practical perspective. Now, as we are here, we are going to pay attention to the two, both the theoretical aspect of it and the practical aspect of it. Because at the end of the day, you have to write a book, and that book is what usually referred to as thesis or dissertation. You have to write that book and submit it to the department before you can graduate. So it makes sense to understand the two aspects of it. All right. So, okay, this is a disclaimer. Most of in fact, all of the images here, I didn't create them. So yeah. So in this course, we want to use Python to do something related to data science. Of course, there are other programming languages you can use for. Okay. There are other programming languages you can use for data science. Now we have a language like R. R is very good for data science. We have a programming language like JavaScript. JavaScript is also coming up as a tool for data science. We have a tool like Julia. So those of you who haven't heard about that programming language before, we have a language called Julia that is also good for data science. And we have Python, which is also good for data science. The reason why we have to use Python, number one, is because according to the course, we have to use Python. And number two, Python is easy to go with. So if you're a beginner, you haven't done anything programming before, I think Python is a go-to programming language. It's very easy, simple, and it's also obvious with some of the codes. When you start writing the codes, you feel like you're writing normal English with a bit of symbols in there. Okay. All right. But generally, Python can be used for almost anything after you can think of. For example, you want to develop a desktop application, a website, a game. You can use Python to do that. In my experience, I haven't used Python to develop a website or a web application before, but I've used Python for data science projects, and I've also used Python to develop game. There's a library called Pygame. That is what I used. But that was way in undergraduate. It's been long. I've not been developing games again. The second thing is scientific computing. We can use Python for this. Now, come to think about how many of us are coming from mathematics backgrounds? Anybody?
Ransford.
Okay, so we have someone coming from mathematics. What about statistics?
Michael.
Okay, so we have a few of you here coming from math and stat background, and you should know much about scientific computing, where you do a lot of integration, or let's say calculus, metrics, and the likes. So those of you coming from the math and stat, you should know something like MATLAB. And MATLAB is very good at scientific computing. The same way Python is also good for scientific computing. But of course, we are not here for scientific computing, so we'll not talk much about it. Then Python is also good for data analytics, visualization, and then building machine learning algorithms. So going forward, if we get the opportunity, we'll try to distinguish between analytics and then machine learning. But there are a bit of differences between all of these terms. Now, so we are just going to get ourselves into the Python programming. I don't know if anybody has got concern or question or special interest they may want to bring up before we proceed. Any? Okay. So who is called Y? At least try and then rename. Yeah, coming. Hello. There is someone with name
Yes,
Y.
I'm here.
Yeah, you can rename it so I can call you by your name. I think that was
Yeah.
okay.
Actually, that's my name, but
Your name is Y.
yeah, I'm for short.
No, but that's not your name.
No, I'll
Are you
rename.
a
Don't worry.
Chinese?
I'll rename.
Okay, good. But you
I
know you are
wanted
not a Chinese woman, so
Are you sure?
are you a Chinese?
What if I'm half Chinese?
Oh, I think that would make sense.
Yeah. Okay, so what was I saying? Concerning the background to learn Python, let's say I come from a background like sociology or something of that sort. Would I have any challenges learning this particular programming language, or it's very easy to understand, like it's friendly? Do I need to pick up some things before I can understand this language, this programming language? I don't know if you understand what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Yeah, I understand. So you know,
That's a concern.
okay, I understand. So at least I know that we have some people with zero background in programming. So
Yeah.
we are going to start from those areas. And to be honest, preparing this material here, I prepared it with people with zero background in mind. So I don't go too deep. I try to focus more on what we use for the machine learning, with the exception of those who may want to pick it up for something else, like to build web applications with Django and the like. They may want to immerse themselves in it. But for our course, what we have here should be enough for you. And the secret or the key to this is, of course, you are learning other courses in addition to this. But if you really want to pick the programming thing up, every morning when you wake up, let's say from 5 a.m. to 5:30, just 30 minutes, pick up your machine and start writing some codes. Now, research have shown that if you spend just 18 minutes every single day doing something or focusing in a particular discipline, at the end of the day, you should be better than 95% of the world's population in that area. That is what research is saying. So, for example, if you really want to be good at Python programming, don't do much. Just every single day, do about 18 minutes or 20 minutes. So today, you just pick variables, you do it for 80 minutes. Tomorrow, you pick something else on controls, 18 minutes. Just do it every single day. Don't miss every single day. And you should be better than about 95% of the world's population when it comes to Python programming. So I don't know if you can do that, but consistency is the key here. Are we good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sure. So these are the resource we may need. Okay, we need to install a Python. I don't know why everything about Python here looks like a snake, but that is how they choose to call it. We have Python being the programming language, and then we have Anaconda, more like a tool that brings say data science tools together for you. So for example, if you want to manipulate data, you will need something or a library called pandas or PySpark. It does Python doesn't come with it. So for example, if you download Python, the Python programming language, it's not shipped with it. So if you need to use pandas, you have to run some few commands to download pandas into your Python environment before you can work with it. In the same way, if you have to build machine learning models, and you want to use, let's say, logistic regression or random forest, what will happen is you have to go to the random forest or that library, whoever developed it. You have to go there and download random forest, push it into your environment before you can work with. So what this software here does is it tries to pull all of these tools that will be needed by data scientists. It put them together for you. So once you have this single tool, you have access to all of the tools, or let's say majority of the tools you'll be using for your data science project. So Nicholas wants to say something.
I wanted to ask if it's okay to use Visual Studio Code rather than Anaconda. Anaconda doesn't seem to be working properly on the machine.
Okay, so I keep getting this question. It keeps coming up, but there is no problem you trying to use a different IDE to work with. If you think you can work with Visual Studio Code, that's fine. But the reason why we want to use Anaconda is for us to be on the same page, consistency. So if you are facing some challenge, I can assist you. In my case, I haven't used Visual Studio Code to build any machine learning business or model before. So assuming you are facing challenge on how to run it in Visual Studio Code, I won't be able to assist. But if you have, or you think you have the capabilities of using Visual Studio Code to run your models, that is fine. I'm absolutely fine with it. But, you know, like what I said, Visual Studio Code, when you download Python, it doesn't come with pandas. So you have to find a way to use Visual Studio Code to download pandas into your Python environment. And that will be something you have to worry your head about. But so long as we are all using Anaconda, we are not going to face that challenge. I don't know if this answers your question.
Yes, please do that.
Okay, sure. All right. So do we have anybody here who hasn't installed Anaconda or Python on their machines?
Yes, sir, I'm still downloading it.
Oh, really? Who has been able to install this tool? Because I remember from the onset, Dr. Mafo, before he started the visualization with you, he added it on the platform, asking everyone to download. And somebody was commenting that, are they free to use any other IDE? And he made the comment that this is the tool most of the instructors will be using, so you should install it. I don't know if I'm getting it wrong, or it's not your class.
Yeah, it's our class.
Okay, by some way, somehow, we still have a lot of people who haven't installed it. Okay, that's fine. So can I proceed?
Hi, Pasty.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think someone wanted to say something.
Do we need a tool now? You can just have the Anaconda and proceed with it. Later, you can download the Python.
Okay, so like I said, the Anaconda itself is not the programming language. It is just a tool. And this tool, before it gets executed, it relies on Python. So if you are installing Anaconda, I don't know for the current versions of Anaconda, probably it comes shipped with Python in it already. But for the older versions, it doesn't come with it. So you have to install Python. Then when you're installing Anaconda, Anaconda will say that, hey, I found the Python interpreter over there. Should I import it? You just give it the go ahead, yes. It will now pull Python into Anaconda. So when you begin to run your code, it will rely on Python to interpret it for it. Okay, but I don't know if the current versions have got Python embedded in it, such that you can run it without, say, traditionally installing Python. So you can just proceed with your Anaconda and run it to see. If it doesn't come, it means it didn't come it didn't come with Python pre-installed. Then you have to go back to downloading and installing Python so that it can work for you.
All right, thank you.
All right, sure. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to launch Anaconda. So this is how Anaconda looks like. Let me see. Okay, good. So you see, we have Anaconda Navigator. Do you see? I'll show you another way how I launch it. I try to launch it, but I don't launch it from here because I feel this one here takes a lot of time. I usually run the prompt, then I issue my own command telling it the kind of tool I'm interested in. So let me quickly show you how to use the Anaconda Navigator. Once you are done with the installation, you should have this. So I'll click it to launch. Please, as we are moving on, if you are lost, just notify me so I can go back and handle those issues. Okay, I think I have Anaconda here. So please, can you see the Anaconda interface?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, this is the prompt. You may never want to use it or something, unless, of course, it becomes necessary for you to use it. Now, this is Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebook. Now, these two guys are similar. They do the same thing. In my case, I choose to use Jupyter Lab because I feel the interface is way better than Notebook. But like I said, this one is the exact same thing as this. If I'm using Jupyter Lab for examples and you are on Jupyter Notebook, you are going to do the exact same thing as I'm doing here. If I click on a button, you will find that same button in Jupyter Notebook. You can click on it. Okay. So feel free to switch between either Lab or Notebook. But in my case, I'll be using Jupyter Lab. Because you see, when I launch this one, it's going to give me some options at the side like this where I can easily navigate. But this one here doesn't give me those options. So I prefer to go by this. All right. Now we have this guy here too. This IDE is called Spider. Now Spider is similar to any other IDE like Visual Studio Code, anything like that. But this time around, because it comes shipped with Anaconda, you can use this one here to build your machine learning algorithms. Okay, because this guy gets to see almost everything embedded in Anaconda. Okay. Now you also find R here. You see, all of these things have been installed already. When I click on it, it's going to launch. But I see RStudio is just added to the navigator, but it's not there. So if you're interested, you just click on this and it will install RStudio for you. So all of the R you will be doing with probably Senana. I don't know the tool he uses, but does he use these two Anaconda? Come again.
Use RStudio.
He uses RStudio. Yeah. So you can install RStudio here without going through any stress. You click and then it will start installing. When it's done, you can launch the RStudio here and then it should work fine, just like any other person. Now we also have Orange. Now Orange is like, it's so crazy. It's for building machine learning algorithms, but this time around, it's a drag and drop kind of something. But before you use Orange, you have to understand some concepts in machine learning. Otherwise, you won't be able to use it. So for example, if you have to build a model, what do you have to do? You have to follow some steps. Now, Orange is going to say that these are the steps. So if you're interested in this, just drag it, come and paste it here, and everything works fine for you. Okay, so you may want to explore it. All right, so what I'm going to launch is this guy, Jupyter Lab. Yeah, someone wants to say something.
Some were asking if you could slow down a little.
Yeah, come again.
I was asking if you could slow down a little bit, but someone now installing the Anaconda and Python.
Yeah. Okay, I'll slow down, but trying to maybe install as we are doing this may be a bit confusing. So I would suggest that, if possible, we all pay attention to everything that's going to happen here. You follow through. When we are done, I'll make the video available. You can watch it and then follow through building your own stuff. I think that will help. But assuming you have it and you can try it as fast as possible, such that by the time you are done with it, we wouldn't have moved to the next item. I think that's okay. Because some of you may focus on practicing alongside. By the time your code starts running, then we've done something new. You have to come back asking, how did we get here? And that becomes a challenge also for every other person. So there may be instances where I have to pause, ask you to do it, share your screen, let me see what is happening over there. And if you are running into errors, can share your screen, I look at it, then we all fix it together. Okay. So I'm going to launch the lab. So you see, it's trying to open it. Yeah. Good. Oh, this is, when did I do this? This is, okay, about 7 months ago. So we're building a sentiment analysis model. So let me close this one. I'm not interested in all of these. Okay, this and that. Okay. And this is what I was talking about. If I should launch this one, Jupyter Notebook, I'm going to launch the 2. So you see, this is Jupyter Notebook. This is Anaconda. Jupyter Lab. So this is the reason why I prefer to use the lab over the notebook. How things are arranged, I prefer this one here. Okay. So you are free to use this because it's basically the same thing. I'll prove that to you. All right. So this is for HR Analytics, BD, Data Stack. So let me create a folder for ours. So I'm going to call it VDA 2024. Okay. So all of the stuff we'll be doing, this is where we'll be doing it. Okay. So let me open this. So you can see that I now have VDA 2024 folder, but then there isn't anything here. The same way, if I should open Jupyter Notebook, which happens to be this, you see the data stack here. You see VDA 2024 here. So you see what's happening here. So you can go ahead and then create maybe a new script or something. But if I'm using lab is saying that I can just click on this and it will create a new file for me. So I'm going to create another folder here, okay? And then call this Python 1. Then God willing, tomorrow's class is going to be Python 2, okay? Then afterwards, we are going to do something we call pandas. Then we'll do something we called, I don't know, maybe visualization. So let me call it that way. We may use Seaborn or Matplotlib. So let me do visualization. Then we finally come to machine learning like this. So these are going to be the folders we'll be working in. Please, when we are done, I'll share this folder here with you. Every single code we are going to write here, I'll ship it along with it so that you can also run it to see what's happening. Are we okay on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please, is anybody confused up to this point? These are the things I just created. It's showing in Jupyter Notebook. Anybody with a concern? Okay. So I'll open the Python one like that. Then I'll create my Python script in there, the codes that we are going to write like this. As simple as this. So this is our editor. This is where we'll be doing most of our things. Okay. Let me see if I can get a different theme because this one looks so white. Material. Let me see. Let me see. Let me use the dark one. Please, can you see this one?
Can't see this one.
You can't see. You can't see.
Please, we can see.
Yeah. Let me see. There is a way to increase a lot of the items here, but I think this is Zoom and you can see my screen, so I shouldn't be worried about zooming things up. Okay, so if I come here, I should find the same file over here. This is it. So, see how Jupyter Notebook displays it. So I prefer to go by this one because I have the opportunity to work in the full mode, or if I have to choose something else, I have to. But over here, it doesn't give it to me. I have to go back here and then be looking for it. So let me just close these two guys and then use my lab. Okay. So we are going to save this material here and then call it, let's say, basics. Like this. So now that I've renamed this one, this is it. So we have a file here for it. If I should go back, or I can decide to create another thing and call it, let's say, let me go through, what is this one? Oh, okay, this is my ETL. Okay. Now we have a lot of things here, data types, okay? So I can create something new like data types. Let me call this one data types. So the data types tutorial will be here. The very basics will be here. So we are going to create the next one. After the data types, we have something like, think operators. Okay, so I'm going to keep the operators here. Then for today, we'll have, I think, the last one, which is conditional controls. So let me put conditions. So these are the 4 things we'll be looking at today. Okay. All right. So I'm going to open this, the basics, which happens to be this. Let me remove every other thing. Please, any question on what I've done so far? Okay. All right. Okay. So yes, this is the very basic syntax here. And there are a few things you need to know about this screen. I think this is the first time you are using Jupyter, right?
Yes.
Okay. So at least you know what this one does. Okay, and you know what this one does. This is for creating folders and this is for creating files. So you know these two guys. Okay, good. The next thing you have to know is, you see this one. We have code. If I drop it down, we have markdown and then raw. So those of you coming from the mathematics backgrounds, you know something we call LaTeX. So if you want to write all LaTeX commands, just write it here and then change this one here to markdown, and you should be able to run it. So for example, if I should say introduction to Python programming like this, okay. If I run this, you see currently it is on code. So if I click, this is the one we'll be using for running. If I run this, I get myself into trouble saying that on line 1, introduction to Python programming, What is the issue? The issue is that you have invalid syntax. It means in Python, you can't do just anything you want. You have to follow some rules. But this is not what you wanted to achieve. You just wanted to put some heading over there. That is a plain English or a markup. Now, let me select this one and say that, hey, this is not a code. It's just some text I want to display. So change it to markdown and then run. And you can see that we have our nice heading here. If I double click, I can go back and then edit it. Now, sometimes you may want to increase this one a bit. So let me show you one trick. You see this guy here, is it called pound or hash something? So I'm going to put 2 there and then space. So for those of us who are familiar with HTML, this is more like header 2. In fact, when you open your Word document, you can create something like that. If I should open Word document, you have a lot of headers in there. So if I say hello, I can select header 1. You see it changes. I can select header 2. Okay, that's the exact same thing that's happening over there. So I said I need header 2 here and then run. So you can see that it is now big. If you use 1, it becomes even like that. Okay, so I want you to get used to some of these basic things. All right. So the first thing we are going to talk about is the basic syntax of Python. Now, in Python, we don't use braces. Okay, we don't use that. Everything we'll be using here will be around the colon and indentation. Now, indentation is this. Look at what we have here. I'm aware you don't understand what's happening here, but that's fine. You see, right after the if, we have 2 dots here, and the print. The print doesn't start from the beginning. It shifts in. This one here is acceptable. The reason is that this part here belongs to this. It means that the if, it starts from the if and then ends somewhere here. Now, whenever you write this, you need a body or a block of code. But because we wrote this, and then we brought this one here on the same line as the if, it doesn't understand. It is going to throw some errors on the screen. So for example, if I do number is equal to 1, and I say if number is greater than 0, then I come here and do print something. Don't worry your head about what's going on here. If I do this, Python is going to throw some errors. Okay? Expected an indented block. Okay? So the best way I can resolve this is to push this one in a bit to say that, hey, this guy here belongs to this one. They are all in the same group. So if I run this, you see that I didn't get myself in trouble. Now you see that this one here is on the same line with this because this thing here is independent. This is also independent. But this guy here depends on the if. And that's the reason why we need to push it inside a bit. Okay. That's something basic you need to understand. So when you see me writing the code and I bring some here and sometimes I push some here, I push another one in here, like I'm designing it. That's the reason. Okay. Good. So I want to use this opportunity to welcome every one of you. And in programming, this is how we welcome everyone. You need to greet the world by saying hello world. Now, this is how we do it. If you want to print something on the screen in Python, there is something we call a function, and the name of the function is called print. When you do print, you put your open and close brackets. Now, I will explain this soon. Print test on screen. I will explain this thing very soon. Now, if I do print, anything I want to type or I want to display on the screen should be in here. So for example, I will say, I want to display the strange hello world on the screen. And this is how I will achieve that. So once I'm done typing this, I can go ahead and click on this one to execute this code. So you can now see hello world on the screen. Any questions? Are we all good?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those of us who are new, where is Y? Well, what's your name? At least so I can spot you. Is Y here?
Why
She
is this
dropped off or
why?
something. Why? Why are you quiet? Okay. So it seems she's not on. Who is Christy? This one, Christy.
Yeah, Christiana. She's Christiana. Celebrity.
Who?
I'm here.
Is it Y? Is it Y?
Class celebrity.
Christiana.
Okay. So Christy, quick one. Let's do this. You see, I said if you want to print hello world on the screen, you type print. And then you
Yes.
put these 2 quotation marks. Then whatever thing you want to print on the screen should be here.
Yes.
Now, let's say I want to print the strange this on the screen. How do I do it?
You want to print this one on the answer? She should display as Christiana, right?
Exactly. Just like how this one is displayed here. How
Oh,
do we
okay.
go about this? Following this same thing.
You enter Christiana, and you print Christiana. Print.
Yeah, so what should I do? I
bracket.
want to hear you. I should type what?
Type print.
I should type print.
Yes.
Like this, right?
Yes, and inside the bracket.
Okay.
Double quoted bracket. Double quoted. Now
And then I
type the
should type
Christiana.
this one here.
Yes.
Good. So this is what she's saying. Let's see if we don't get ourselves into trouble. And voila, we are able to get the name back. So simply, if you want to print something on your screen, it's as simple as you doing print. You put the string you want to display on the screen in quotes. Then you put the text or everything you want to print in there. I hope this is easy. Okay. So now that we have this block, we can decide to delete it. So you see this scissors here. That is how we can cut this one off. So let me do that. And you can see that everything is gone. All right. In addition to this, we can print numbers. Okay. You can say print number on the screen. We can print numbers by saying print, for example, 43. Now you realize that I didn't put the number in quotes. And that's because this is an integer or it's numeric. If I put it in quotes, it is not a number anymore. It is a string. So if it is a number, you may not want to put it in there. So if I run this, you see, it gives me 43. But let's say I wanted to print Christiana. But then I didn't put it in quotes. Let's run and see. You see, it's blowing up. Okay. So I hope you can now understand the difference between when you want to print a string or a bunch of characters as against numbers. Okay, now this one is working fine. So please, we'll quickly be rushing through the slides. By the way I've prepared the slide, this more obvious. When you read it, you should be able to understand so you can do something.
Okay.
Okay. Now in programming, there is something we call variables. Now, variables cut across all programming languages. For every single programming language you want to use, you have to create variables. Now, what is a variable? A variable is simply a container for storing data. So, you see, back in high school, you were used to doing this, right? Where your teacher will write something. If x is 10 and y is 15, what is z? Say that x plus y is the same as z. How do you do it? You remember you say that, what is the value of x, right? You put 10 there. Then the value of y, you put 15 there. You just put them together and you say that z is 25. In programming, this thing here, this y, x, and then y and z, they are called variables. We use it to store data in memory. So this is how we do it. We can create a whole bunch of variables over here. So let me take you back here. You see, we printed hello world here, and then we printed this one here. Now, we want to look at how to create variables. All right, so let me change this guy here to a markdown and then use double creating variables like that. So if I run it, everything here is going to be a bunch of variables. Now, instead of me printing hello world over here like this, print hello world. I don't want to do this, but then I want to create a variable, keep it in the computer's memory so that as and when I need it, I can go and then fetch it. Now this, right after printing it, it is lost. The computer doesn't keep track of this again. It doesn't keep track of it again. But if I decide to do it just like the x is equal to 23 and y is equal to 12, anywhere I need x, I can print it. On this file, anywhere I need x, I can print it because this guy here is now saved in memory. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So look at this. We are going to create a variable called username. We are going to assign the value Emanuela to it. Okay, good. So we are going to create a variable called user underscore name. I will explain to you why I'll be using. Okay, PJ.
Yeah, so I wanted to find out, when we're doing the R, we were using a different symbol to assign variables to the value. So does it mean that with this one we can just use the equal to sign?
Okay. So this is what you are doing in R, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, like I said, we have several programming languages. In R, this is how we create assignment. In Python, we use equal to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Thank
everything
you.
we are doing here can be done in R, but just that R has got its own syntax or rules for creating variables or operating it. Python too has got a different one. Okay, if I want to create a variable called username, store Emanuela. Now, if I want to print the name Emanuela, I can even decide not to print it in this block. I can decide to run this. In fact, if I run this, what will happen? Can anybody give us a guess? If I click on this, what will happen?
It will get into the programming language memory.
Come again.
The language will memorize Emanuela as the username.
So if I should click on this, you see over here, when we clicked on this, it gave us this one, hello world, right? Okay, so let me do this so that we can all understand. Let me restart kernel and then clear all output. Good, like this. You see this? We don't have anything here, no output. This one here, this first bracket is the input. The second one is the output. If I click on this, what will happen? What will be the output? It should print hello world in the output like this. So this is the output. If I run over here, what will be the output?
12.
12. Good.
12.
Now, if I run this, what will be the output?
There will be no output.
There wouldn't be any output. So why?
No,
So why? The reason is that
because
we
you're not
didn't instruct Python to display something on the screen, right? Okay. Now, if you want to see something on the screen, we can now go ahead and do print. But there is a twist here. Instead of me typing Emanuela here, I wouldn't do that. I'll put this one here. Now, do you remember here? We said back in high school, if X is 10 and Y is 15, if I do X plus Y, I should get 25, right? Why didn't I just put 10 here and then 15 here? I know that the value of X is 10. That's the exact same thing that is happening here. I know that the value of username is what? Emanuela. So I wouldn't have to worry my head putting Emanuela here. I'll have to put the variable name here. Okay. With this, can anybody tell me if I do this, what is going to be the output for doing this? This one.
It will give you a syntax error.
Okay, so someone is saying we'll get syntax error. Any other?
Pasty, I think this will print out user underscore name.
Okay, so we have two answers. Let's give it a shot. Good. We have user underscore name. Why? Because we are saying that this is not a string. This is a variable name. What we have in the quote is the string. So if you put something in quotes over here, it's going to print it just like how it sees it. But if you want to print the associated value, you don't have to put it in quote. You say that, hey, I have some variable in memory called username. Grab that value for me. So if I should run this, I should now get Emanuela because in memory, Emanuela has been assigned to username. Any questions so far? Okay, PJ.
So does it mean that without putting the print there, we cannot run it?
Come again.
Without putting print, like if you don't put print before putting in the username, but you just enter username, it won't run.
Okay. So what she's trying to say is that if I enter only username without the print, won't it output something on the screen? Yeah, of course, it's going to output the result Emanuela on the screen. But the reason why you see that result is that we are working in Jupyter or Anaconda. For any other editor, you type this, you won't see anything on the screen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So Anaconda knows that, hey, basically you are trying to print the value of this. So if you do this, it's going to give you the Emanuela. But for any other IDE, like say Spider, maybe any IDE at all, any tool for this analysis, if you don't put it in print, it won't work. So you are free to put it in print. You are as well free to remove the print. So I think this is interesting. Moving forward, you'll get to understand why sometimes I'll use print and sometimes I won't use print. So you should be able to understand the difference. Okay, so I have the username being this. And one other thing you have to know is if I don't put the print there and I put just this one there, it's actually going to run the very last variable it sees. So for example, if I have username called Emanuela, I have age, and I have the age being 12. If I should put age here, fine, age is a variable containing the value 12. Username is this, but it will print this one. It won't print this. So you see, if I should bring the age down, it will now print age and then leave the Emanuela. Do you see? So if you want to print the 2, you can go ahead and do print username. When you are done, you can as well print age. And this time around, it's going to print the 2 for you. Any questions? Should I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So I wouldn't want to go through all of this. At least for each one, I should be able to give you one example to know how it works. The rest are in the slides. You can follow it and then build up on your own. So you can see I have username here, I have age here, I have height, which is 23.45. And if you run it, you should get this. Okay, we have some few rules in naming variables. Now you realize that over here, I did username, user underscore name. So the question is, why didn't I do user space name and then put maybe Manuela here? Okay. So why didn't I do this? Of course, this is a programming language someone developed, not me. Okay. You also didn't do it. So the person developed it and then came out with some rules saying that in my programming language, if you want to use this programming language to do something, when you're creating variables, it shouldn't contain spaces, like white spaces. No. The usernames shouldn't start with numbers, punctuation, anything of that sort. So you can't say 1, 2, 3 username. It won't work. It will throw an error. You see, invalid syntax. In addition, you can't do user space name and then run this. It's also going to give you some errors. So let me put something over here and say errors so that I will intentionally leave it there. So when I give you this file here, you will know why there are some few errors in here. You can't also do 1, 2, 3 and then user underscore name and say this is Sammy. This is also going to throw an error. Okay. If I should comment this one out and run this, let me save. See, it gives me 1, 2, 3 user underscore name as an invalid syntax. And you see, it is pointing to where the issue is. Do you see this small caret? Trying to point you to where the issue is. Okay. If I should run this, see, it is also trying to point to you that, hey, there is an issue over here. Okay. So you will find yourself in a lot of troubles over here. We have all of the rules over here on how to create good variable names. So this is not accepted. You can't put a dash between them. It's also not accepted, and you can't leave spaces. But of course, you can put two words together using an underscore. You can also start with an underscore. You can end with numbers. You can use uppercase, lowercase, anything you want. But in this class, we are going to set our ground rules. Maybe when you are writing your codes, you may want to do user small u and then username like this. This is acceptable. Someone may want to do big user, big name. Oh, who is worrying?
Michael, please mute. Why?
Okay. Someone may want to use the user big U, big N to differentiate user and the name for everybody to understand that, hey, this is a compound word or two words put together. In my case, or in our class, we are going to use underscore to separate them so that it is readable. So username, we are going to do user underscore name. So we can just assume the underscore to be a space. Okay. So everything here is valid. So that is what we have here. Any questions so far? Okay. Now, there are a lot of things you can use or do in Python. We have some of them being keywords. There are some keywords you can use them as your variable name. Okay, something like false. You can create a variable and call it false. So for example, you see we said these things are acceptable for creating variable names. Good. So you came up and then said, oh, Abu. Abu is equal to human name. This is your variable name. Well, this is acceptable. You can't come and create a variable and call it false and say false is hello. This is a reserved keyword. It will blow up. Cannot assign to false. Okay, it will blow up. So even as you learn about Python, there are a lot of rules you need to follow. And these are a few of them. Okay, you can't assign to any keyword. So cannot use keywords as variable names. You can't. It will blow up, just like we are seeing here. Okay. So that is that for this. So take your time and read through all of this and know that you can't use any of them as keyword. But of course, we can modify the if the false here and say that, hey, I want to call my false underscore. This is acceptable because it's not the same as false. There's an underscore here. All right. Good. Now, the other thing you have to understand is something we call comments. Now, in programming, comments is more like, you see, the sad reality is that the company you are working with currently, you may leave. Something may happen and then you stop working with them. Sometimes you can die. Now, if you are not there anymore, will the next person be able to understand the code you're trying to write? Now, because sometimes you can write your own code today, tomorrow you pick it and you don't understand what you were trying to do. It is advisable to keep some notes in your code, such that any point in time you pick those codes, you will understand what you are trying to do. So if I write any code and I precede it with a pound sign, it means that is a comment. You are trying to tell Python that, hey, this is not part of the code. I'm just trying to put some comments in to remind myself of what I was trying to do some time ago. So if you look up here, you realize that over here, I wrote something like print test on screen. This is a comment trying to explain to me what I'm trying to do here. This is also a comment. Comments, we don't need to always maybe put comments up here, but immediately you put a comment here, anything that follows will not be read. So I can decide to put the comments here, for example, here, and say that the name of the person, the age of the person. Okay, you can do this. You can decide to put it up here like this, just like what we have here. You can put it up here, and then you put this one here, up here. Everything is acceptable so long as it's able to explain to someone else what you're trying to do over here. It is acceptable. But if you put it here and say you want to put the comment, it's going to comment everything that follows. Okay, so that is that for this one. So if you see me doing this, I'm trying to put some notes in there so that when you begin to read this material, you understand what I was trying to do. Any questions? Any questions? Should I move on? Hello?
Yes, Pastor.
Please, sir. Whoa. So, please, sometimes you have to come in. You know, my network is quite bad, so I may not know. That's why I keep prompting you if you have questions and that. So this is comment. So you may want to read this one here to understand what's happening. I try to use arrows to point exactly what's going on in there. All right. Now, the next thing we are going to talk about is data types. So I think we are good with the very basic things we wanted to do over here. Let me save this one and close it, move to data types so that we can start writing our fresh codes here. So I'm going to start with Python data types. Let me change from code to markdown. Okay. So yes, In Python, there are a lot of data types. We may not cover all of them. We are going to cover the ones we'll be using for the data science. Okay. So with the rest, you can use other reference materials to get acquainted with them. So data type is nothing but what you want to store. What is its category or state? That is all we are going to call as data type. So technically, it is the type of value a variable is actually holding. Okay. All right. So we have all of these things, and then we take our time to go through them. We have string, we have integers. This is string, short for string. This is int, integer. Floats, complex, those coming from our departments and the likes. You know, complex numbers, right? We have list, tuple, range. All of these are there. Okay. Good. So this is an example, okay, trying to show you about string, that this is how string look like. So anytime we put something in quotes, it is a string. If we don't put it in quotes, just a number like this is an integer. Once we have point something, it ceases to be an integer. It becomes a floating number. When we start to include the I and j and the likes, it becomes complex. Now we have list. Okay, list is where you see this one, we are storing only one value to this variable, one value, but we want to store more than one value, like 3 of them. So we call this list. And then with list, we have different variants. We have the tuple, we have the dictionary, we have the sets and the likes, but we'll talk about them as we move on. So the numeric ones, you remember the age, height, and this is a complex number. If you run this code, this is going to be the output. Okay, so this, if I do print age, now you are seeing something new here. Let me explain that to you. If I have Python data types, let me put integers. Okay, if I have number, say 1, I have say 23, or let me use age. Age can be an integer. Let me use 23. And I want to print something like in a form of statement to say that, hello, I am 23 years old. Okay. Now, where is this 23 coming from? This 23 is coming from here. So this is a variable name. So I can decide to put the variable name age over here. So how do we put this guy here and this bunch of strings together? Okay. And in Python, we can use plus or the comma. So for example, I can say print I am, then I'll say 23. Okay, I can use plus, then add age plus 23 years old. Like this, I can do something as simple as this. All I'm trying to say is that I want to type I am 23 years old, but the years old is a string. This is also a string, but this guy here is a variable. So how do I put the variable and the strings together? I try to use the plus. If it is only one, from here up to here, I can use the comma and I'm good to go. So let's see what's happening. Not int to string. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. Let's try and then correct this particular issue. So with this one, what I need you to understand is that most often when you're writing your codes, you are going to get yourself in trouble like this. And when you get in trouble, you can use online tools to help you fix it, assuming you don't understand anything or you don't understand what's happening over there. Okay, all right. So we have age here, okay? We have just one item, so we can just use the comma to separate it, okay? Moving down, I'll talk about when and then how to use the other concatenating symbols. And if how we do this is going to change. We are going to stop using this. We're going to stop using this one here. Then we even switch to something called the formatting, where I can decide to put something like age here direct without putting the plus things here. And this one here should be able to work fine for us. Okay, so we'll get to all of these things. But all I need you to know is that this is an integer. Okay, and this one here, 6.7 becomes what? What is the 6.7, the data type? Am I on? Okay.
The float.
Yeah, so this one here is a float. Then this one here becomes what? Complex, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then I want to ask you, how did you get to know that this is a float? Or this is an integer and then this is complex? How did you know? You were referring from here, right?
The float has a small, complex has the identity.
Okay. All right. So that is fine. In Python, there is a better way of checking if a number or any input is a string or an integer. So this is it. We can use the type keyword. So for example, if I come here and say that I want to print the type of age, I'm expecting this guy here to give me an integer. And look at this. This is an integer. Okay. Now forget about what's happening here. I can separate it and say that data type or age data type is equal to the type of this. So I can just try and then print this one here. And this should be able to give me the data type of interest called integer. Now, similarly, if you have maybe float, you may want to do something like height, okay? Height may be 12 or let's say 23.34 like this. You can now say height data type. So you know that there is one guy called type and it's responsible for getting the data type for you. Okay. Why? Are you there?
Yes.
Is Y there? Oh, I lost Y.
I'm here.
Aha. So do you understand what's happening here? Wait, why is Christina?
No.
Okay. All right. So this is it. You remember when we're trying to do, I'm going to use this thing and it's going to create a new block for me. Okay. You remember we said if you want to print something on the screen, you have to use print. Do you remember this? Hello.
Yes, we do remember.
Okay. Now, if you want to get the data type of something, you don't use print. We use type. And you pass whatever thing you want to know the data type. But of course, it's not going to print it on the screen. And that's the reason why we try to wrap it around the print function. Okay. But of course, because we are in Jupyter, we can throw away the print totally and then put this one here like this. And it tells you that this is float. Okay. If I take this guy here out totally, it tells me that the data type for the age is integer. This is float. Okay. I can also do the same thing for the complex like this. So complex, I can say number. All right. So that is actually what's happening here. Okay. My network. All right. So this is it. We can actually switch between data types. And please, this is very important. I want you to take notes. You see this one? What is this? Hello?
An int.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Monka say. So you see this one? This is an int, but you see the output. This is the exact same way to convert some data type to int. We'll use this one. You see float. We also use the same thing float to convert. You see this, you use it. Now let me show you the last one called string. If I say name is equal to say June. Now if I say I need the type of name, which is June, you see it is giving me str, string. Okay, good. Now let's check this one as well. Let's say I have X and I say X is 23. If I do type of X, what should I get?
STR.
STR. Okay. Now, what if I want to convert this one here to an integer? Remember, I said we are going to use the output. So if I want to convert something to an integer, I'll just wrap it against integer. So look at this. I would say that, okay, X, convert X to int. Okay, and then put that X in. And if I do this, what should happen? Please, for those who are getting confused, I created a memory space called X, and the value over there is 23. I said I want to convert that value at memory location X to integer. When I'm done, I don't want to allocate it to a different memory location. I want to keep it in X. That means replace the value of X with this new number. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. If I run this, what is going to be the output?
X.
So someone is saying that we'll get X here.
Yeah, you're going to get 23.
Someone is saying
sorry,
23.
Integer.
Someone is saying integer. What are we going to get? I have a value called X in memory. It is 23, which happens to be a string. Now I'm trying to grab that same number from memory and convert it to an integer. So if I type, if I try to get the type of that value or that variable, it becomes what? Maybe an integer. It is no more a string. But if I should take this one off and say, hey, put this in memory and give me the type, this guy here changes to be a string. All I'm trying to tell you is that sometimes you may want to switch between different data types. Okay, so if I have age, or let's say height, and the height is 23, of course, height is supposed to be like point something, isn't it? Most often. So you may say that, oh no, I want to convert this height to something else by saying that height, change the height value, and then put it into a float. And what is supposed to be the value is that height, isn't it? If you are getting confused here, I'll say C height, that is the converted height, is this value I'm keeping here. Then I'll do C height. See, that is 23.0. If I want to get the type of this one, look at this, it gives me a float. Any questions on this one? So it's just the same as what's happening here. We first have the number 24. We try to get the type, integer, and then float. Now, the next time, we try to convert every other thing. Now, I have some small exercise here that should take us roughly 5 minutes maximum to complete. Can anybody help us solve this? Let me grab this question here. With the knowledge of what we are doing right now, can anybody solve this question? Someone should pick the first, second, another should do all of this. So who is going first? And I'm Mumfrobi. Should I call someone? Hey, Why? Is Y there?
I'm here.
Hey, why you didn't change your name? I'll keep calling you.
I'll change it soon.
What's
I'm
your
using
name?
one. I'm
Okay.
Yanni.
Come again.
Yanni.
Oh, I think that's the reason why I wanted to use the Y, because we struggle.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me use the Y. I think I'm okay. All right. So Y, what is the first thing to do?
Unfortunately, I am not with my laptop, so I won't be able to assist.
Oh no, just talk and I'm going to do it. What should I type? You are going to solve this one. The next person will solve this. Another person will solve this till we are done. So you are solving this. How do we? The assignment is to create a variable X and then assign 23 to it. How do I do that?
I'll disappoint you because I've been up and down, so
Oh,
someone
okay.
will have to answer for me. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So the next person, anybody to solve the first one for us?
Pasty.
Yeah.
X is equals to 23.
So I should do X is equal to 23. Okay. So someone just solved the first one. Anybody to solve the second one? In fact, I'll solve it myself. Yes.
Pasty, we've got you. Don't worry, okay?
Let me solve that one.
Yeah, yes.
So what is Y? Y is what? 12. In quote. Do you see?
So
12 in quote. Okay. Now, the next task is to print the data type of X. Anybody to help us?
You type print
I should type print.
into bracket X.
I should put X here.
Yes.
print into bracket X.
Print into bracket X.
Like this.
Right.
So if I run this, it's going to print the data type of X.
Yes, please.
No, it will not print the data type. Do you want the data type?
Class of X.
This is the question. Print the data type of X.
No, then remove the print.
I should remove this.
Oh, you want to? You want? I want it straight away. Like type data type. Print data type.
Please.
X.
I have a lot of things coming in at the same time.
Ernest, kindly mute for us.
Yes. So you are saying something. You said I should do it.
If you want the data type, then it will be data type or type X.
I should do type like this. Okay.
I don't want to bring the print, but okay, it's okay.
Okay.
Then you run it.
So she's saying I should do something like this and run. And this is getting me an integer. So the next person is supposed to work on the Y, the data type of Y. Okay. And so what should I do? I should do type Y, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then the next person is going to create a variable Z and do X plus Y. The result we are expecting is 35. So the next person should help us. So Z is equal to what? Yes.
Yes, I wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
It's Python case sensitive.
Yes.
Is Python case sensitive?
Yeah.
Of course.
Because
small z is not the same as big Z.
Okay. Because the way in the question you're using caps and then you're using small letters, right? That's what I was asking.
Oh, this is the question. So we can choose to do it anyhow we want. Okay. But thank you for that. Now who is going to solve this question here for us? We know X is 23, Y is 12, but that's strange. Well, this is coming from the data types we checked. Now we want to put these two things together, X and Y, to give us the result 35. How do we go about it?
Z equals to Y. Z equals to X plus Y or Y plus X.
I should do X plus Y.
Yes.
And is this going to give us 35?
If you print
I think
it.
Pasty, you
No,
should
it wouldn't.
put an int in front of the y.
Please. The best way we can do this is we pay attention to some few instructions here. The question is to compute z, which is x plus y, such that the result of z is 35. So you have to tell me how we can manage to get that 35. Okay, so someone is saying I should do x plus y. Is that the case?
Yes, sir, because we've already assigned x to 23 and y to 12.
Okay, so let's give it a shot. And it's blowing up. And you know why? Read the error message.
Error type unsupported operand type S for T, is it T, plus what integer and string? Oh, okay.
So it means you are trying to sum numbers and letters. It's more like you're asking me what is 1 plus x.
Yeah.
Good. So that's what's happening here. So how do we fix this? So Nana, you raise your hands up.
Yes, I think we would have to convert the y into integer before we can add the x and y to
So
get
we have to
the
do ends
35
here,
ones.
right? Once we do this, we are saying that pick y, convert it to an integer before you work with it. Does this make sense? And this is 35. Okay. In fact, in programming, you see, all of these things you are learning are just pieces. It is up to you to put them together to make sense. So you learned about how to convert something to float. You got here, this is the application. If you don't know how to do this, then you are going to get yourself in trouble. Trust me. Does this in here make sense? Okay. All right. So we have the string data type, and I think we've talked about that already. Okay. Why it is not in quotes, and then why this one here is in quotes, and then the response. There's something we've talked about. Then we have string manipulation. In fact, we have several approaches or several tools available to manipulate string. Now, imagine you wanted to find the length or the number of characters in a string. How do you do that? There is a guy called len, which happens to be the short for length. You can use it to get the number of characters we have here. And you see, we have 18 characters here. And this is what the function is doing. It's trying to explain to you what should happen here. So let me see, that is for string manipulation. Let me put some comment here and say string manipulation. Okay, now we are going to have our string here and call the string what? Introduction to Python programming, like this. Now, how many characters do we have here? Anybody with an idea? Fine, let me even make it short and say that string is equal to I am. How many characters do we have here? If I want to find out the number of characters I have here, I have to use another function called len, more like int, the print type. We have another one called len. We use it to get the number of characters we have here. So I'll just pass the variable I want to get the characters. Now, can anybody guess the result? Can anybody guess the result?
4.
Come again?
4.
Okay, so they are saying it's 4 and we had 4. That's because empty space is also a character. All right. Now, you know about that. There is a way of checking if something exists in a string, and we use the in keyword. Okay, So for example, if I have, say, let me create a new variable called strange and say, hello world. That is Python day. Okay. Now, can you tell if the word Python is in strange? Is it possible you can do that? Can anybody help us based on what we have here? Okay. So what is going to happen is, if I want to check if something exists in this, I can say that word or that thing I want to look out for. I want to check if Python is in this strange. So I'll put strange here. And you see, it is telling me true. That means that it went through this one here, and then it was able to find the word Python in it. Now, and the opposite is this. You can say if not in. You are checking if the word Python is not in this string. Now, this is going to help you in your data cleaning. For example, you may want to check if the phone number, there are empty spaces in there. So if there are empty spaces in there, you may want to remove all empty spaces. Okay, so this thing here becomes useful. And look at this, it says false. We are trying to ask if the word Python is not in the string. And it said, no, it is there. So it is false. Okay.
So just watch next.
Okay, so this is the not. Now we also have a way of slicing string. In fact, right after this, we are going for our break. So what we can, we'll continue. Now the slicing one. Let's say I have, let me put slicing string here. Let's say I have a test, and the value of that test is hello world. Okay. Do you think it is possible for us to extract only the hello and then leave the world? Such that if I say print test or something, it is going to give me hello like this and not the world. Do you think that's possible?
Yes.
Okay, so how do we do that? And that is what brings us to the concept of slicing. Now, there are a few things you need to note. You see the hello world here. Everything is indexed. And the first character H, the index is 0. So it means that if I want to get H, I can do test. Then I grab the index 0. But this is how I grab the index. I need to do this guy. I'll need to include a square bracket and put 0. That means get the test, everything in here. I am interested in the first character, which is at the position 0. So if I run this, you can see I have H. Now, the next one happened to be with index 1. So basically, it's just the same thing, but we are beginning the count from 0. Okay, all right. So if I need the one at index position 1, I can put 1 there and then say that what is text or the value at index number 1, and this should give me E. That is for that. So when you follow this one clearly, you can see the position of each one of them. Now, it is not just positive like that. We can also start counting from behind. So from behind, of course, we don't have negative 0. So we start from negative 1. So if I'm interested in negative 1, it is the same as 10. So let me prove that to you. If I say I need the value at position 10, this is D, which happens to be this D. If I need the value at negative 1, it means I want to start counting from the back, coming forward. then it gives me the same value, D.
They make a mom say, into the code and no right? And I'm saying, where you see with details there?
Who?
Ransford, please mute.
Okay, Christy, come in.
Please, can we go back to the other slides where we were counting the slides?
Okay.
Because I realized 5. From what we're doing, I realized 5 to get the 10. There's nothing here, but when you count from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you get the 10, which is also the same as negative.
Hold on. We count from where? Here.
You see, when we are counting from the left side, from the beginning, yes, 0 represents H. And -1 starts from the left.
Yeah.
I realized that, you see, when we are trying to get a slice, there's 5 here. Where the 5 is, there's no.
This one.
Yes.
Okay.
Does it count it too?
I don't understand.
Yeah, she's asking about the space.
The space, this one.
Python,
yes.
The space is also a character. That's why we are counting it. That's what she's asking.
Thank you very
much. The spaces. Yeah, I think I mentioned that, right? So this is part. This space here is part. Okay. And that's the reason why when you try to get the length of this one, it's going to count something in addition to the space. Okay. So there are a whole lot of ways to grab them. Look at this. Hello world. We have 11 or 10 characters here. Okay. Is it 10 or 11?
Plus the space to give you 11.
11, eh? Okay. Yes. So you let me get the length of test. Okay, so we have 11 of them. Okay. Now this 11, you see we have some colon here. Basically, when you are doing the slicing, we have where you want to start from, the index, and then where you want to end, the index. So if you say that, if you don't specify the beginning index and then the ending index, it means you want to grab everything like that. Hello world. But if you specify that, hey, I want to start from 2 to the last one. So this is 0, this is 1, then 2 is here. You want to start from 2 up to the last value in there. Do you see? Sometimes you can say that, oh no, I want to start from -4. So -4 downwards. So you know this is -1, -2, -3, -4. So you are starting from -4 here, like that. And you can see it starts from ORLD. Okay. You can specify where you want to start and where you want to end. So with this knowledge, can anybody tell me how to grab hello, just hello? Let me start for you. Test this, that. What should I put here and what should I put here if I want to grab hello?
Start at 0 and at 4.
0 to 5.
0 and
4.
0 to 4. 0 to 4.
0 to 4. Okay. Anybody with an objection?
0 to 5.
0 to 5.
0 to 5. Okay. So we have 2 answers. Let's see. 0 to 5. Now, we said we are interested in hello, right? Only in hello. How many characters do we have in hello? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Okay, so let's run for those saying 0 to 4. Let's run it and see. And then we have some hell here. Okay, the O didn't come. Now those saying 5, we have hello. So those saying 5 are right. Now, you see over here, I had some rule here. The length of your result will always be the end index minus the start index. So this is a small trick for you. Of course, at first, it can confuse you. I understood why it says 0 to 4. It can be a bit confusing. But if you look at the ending index, which is 4, minus the starting index, 0. So what is 4 minus 0? This is 4, right? So you are trying to say that the result that you are going to get should be 4 characters. And that's the reason why we have from HELL, 4 characters. But I said this is from 0 to 5. Now, the result is supposed to be 5 minus 0, which is supposed to be 5 characters. And that's what we have here. So normally, try and then use this rule here as a guide. So this is, okay, we are not interested in this. Okay, we want to grab the test. Hello. Then the last thing before we go, can someone grab world for us? Anybody? Where should we start and end?
Yeah, Pasty.
Yeah.
We can start from -1, bring it down to -5.
So what should be the first index?
-1.
-1. Then -5.
-5.
Anybody with an objection apart from me? Okay. Now, the reason why this thing here may be wrong is that, you see, starting from the left to right,
Hello?
this is 0. Yeah, come in.
You can start from -5.
So someone is saying that we can start from -5. I
actually second him.
Okay, so from -5
So
to
that
negative.
the output won't be inverted.
No. So there will be
Exactly.
nothing at the end.
Yeah, you can decide not to put anything here. You can decide, because you remember we said the last one start from -1.
Yes.
So if you put it here, it's also valid. But I can decide to avoid problems by doing it this. So look at this. If we do this, okay, if we do this, what is when we start from the left to the right, this is 0, 1, 2, 3. You can see it's moving up. Now, when we want to start from the back, this is -1, -2, so this is -5. So we are saying that start from -5 up to this point. Okay, so if I should run this, whoa, we get an empty space. But if I run this, we get world. Any questions so far? Any questions so far?
Please, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Can you also write like 6 to maybe 11?
Can we write?
To get the world.
Okay,
yeah, from
test 6, 11.
Yes.
Yeah, we have world here.
Okay. Please, can you run 5 for me? Test 5. I want the number 5. To
From
see
5
the
to 11.
No, just 5.
I should put 5 here and then clean this.
Yes, test 5. I want to see. I wanted to ask that question before this one came.
Okay. So 5 is world with some space.
If you I want you to remove the column from the 5 next to 5.
Oh.
I
Then
want
this should give me the space.
Thank you.
Because you are saying that you need the item at position number 5.
5.
But if you put the colon, it means you are extracting more than one thing. Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah. If there isn't any question, these are some methods. You can use this link here to dig it up to see a lot of methods. So this is similar to the length. You see, I use LEN to get the length. If you want to check if the characters here are numeric, you have this. Okay, so there is a full list on W3 school's website here that tells you all of the methods you can apply. You can even convert it to lowercase. When you click on it, it shows you how to do it. So we have this test dot lower to convert it to lowercase. Okay, so this is supposed to be a reference material for you. Okay, then this is string formatting. I think I talked about it up there. So I won't be worrying you so much about this one. And moreover, everything is well explained here. So when we are back, we are going to start with the list data type. Then we'll proceed with that. So this is more like half of everything we have to do today. Any questions before we go for the break? Or any questions over here? What about here? Okay. All right. So thank you very much. What time are we coming back? Hello.
Normally we spend 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
So we are coming back around.
Please,
can we
can we
3:45.
do 40 minutes? 40 minutes, please. We've been sitting down in front of our computer. We've not eaten anything, please. 40 minutes.
1 hour.
1 hour. It's even perfect.
Hey, are people going to cook?
Well, I don't have any problem, but you have to understand that we need to finish this one. So if there's not much, it's just up to here, then we are through. That's all. The rest are just
So
some few
let's
notes.
Let's come back at 4 o'clock. Oh.
That's fine. I don't have any problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, sure. So we are coming back at 4 o'clock. Eh?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Is it recording now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So because this is the first item, second item, and third item, you know, if you want to get the number of items in here, we just do the length of fruits. And we expect it to count the number of items in there, which is this, and that. Now, same way, if we need just the first item, how do we access it? Using something like this. We are going to grab fruits and say, okay, in the list of these fruits, I need the very first item. So if you put 0 here, we're expecting it to give you the first item. Now, let me ask this question before I know that you understand what's happening here. Now, if I want to get A, this one, in mango, how do I access it from fruits? I want to grab only A. Anybody? Hello?
Yeah. So
If
I
I
was
do this, what am I getting?
You do that, then you do another bracket again.
Okay, so someone is saying I should do another bracket again and then put what there?
Inside the 0.
Come again?
Yeah, then you do another bracket. Then you put the 1 there.
Okay, so this is what someone is asking me to do.
All of them.
If I do
all of them
this, then I get, come again?
It's okay, you've got an answer. I was saying you put all of them again in the square bracket. That's what I was saying, but I don't know if that would give an answer.
Oh, no. So basically, when I do this, this is the same as the variable mango. Like, it's more like me creating a variable like this mango. Then if I need the A in mango, I can just do mango and then 1. So it's just the same thing. It's as simple as doing this. Fruits, grab me the first fruit in the list, which happens to be mango. Then grab the letter A, which happens to be this. If you need A and then something, you can do this and then grab some characters out. Okay. So it's as simple as doing this. So yes, there are several ways or several methods on this. For example, we can choose to replace a value. We can choose to add a value. We can choose to delete a value. So let me show you about these 3 things. Now imagine you are doing some analysis, okay? And it's all about list of fruits. Now someone told you that there is one fruit missing, which is pawpaw. Now how do you add pawpaw to this one? So that takes us to adding fruit. So what we can do is we can call fruit like this, okay? Then there is a method called append. So if I do this, for those of you who may want to know how to access all of the methods, if you do dot, you hit the tab, okay? You see there is a tab on your keyboard. When you do the dots and you hit tab, it's going to give you a list of all of the methods you can call. So for example, I can call the append. If I call the append, now sometimes you don't even know what to put here. You can hit the shift and tab. It can also give you more information about the item you can put here. Okay. All right. So it says that any object you put over here is going to be appended to the end of the list. So let's see if that works fine. So let me put pawpaw in here. Okay. All right. So now if I should call fruit right now, what happens? So you can see that we have mango, we have this, we have this, we have pawpaw and that. Now we have the pawpaw 2 times because, you know, I executed this line 2 times and that's the reason why we have it like that. This is the 3rd time and this is the 4th time. So you can see it keeps adding this pawpaw here to it. Okay. So this is how we can add any object to existing list. Now there is a way of removing something from it. So for example, if I want to remove maybe pawpaw from this list, we have different ways of doing that. For example, I may target this pawpaw. Now, how can I get this value out? If I want to access this one, how do I do it? Hello.
That'll be fruits index 3.
So fruit index 3 is going to give me pawpaw. But this same value, I want to delete it. I want to remove it from this list. Now, if you go back to the list of keywords that were presented to you earlier, you find there is one guy called delete, called DEL. Where is it? This one. Do you see? The DEL here is for deleting stuff. So let me go back to this and say that, hey, now grab fruit number 3 or at index number 3. Now delete it. So I want to delete this fruit. So when I'm done, let me get the fruits and then see what happens. So you see that I had 1, 2, 3, 4 fruits, but purpose, but I have 1, 2, 3 now. If I should run this again, it's going to delete. Run it again, it will keep deleting till we are done taking all of these things off. Now, another way of removing an item is this. If I do fruit dot, okay. Now you can see we have one guy called remove. It helps us to remove something from the list. Okay, like that. Now it's asking you what is the item you want to remove. Remove first occurrence of the value. All right. So now we have mango, banana, and another banana. So I want to remove banana. And we're expecting this guy here to remove banana from this list. The first of occurrence, of course. So that is what we have here. So this list, which happens to be fruits in our case, dot remove. I want to remove banana from it. Immediately you do this, it gets removed from the list. Okay. Now we have a lot of methods, okay, on the list. For example, let me use something like count. So I have the list over here. You can follow this link to access all of these. And look at this. Assuming I want to get, I don't want to remove bananas from it. Let me start with my fruits, run everything again. The banana. Let me put another banana. Oops, I'm even removing it. So how many? We have pawpaw saying 2. We have 3 of them and then 4. Now let's say that I want to remove item number 3. That's fine. I want to remove banana. That's also fine. Now if I get the fruits, this is what I'm getting. So my list of fruits happens to be mango, banana, pawpaw, and then pawpaw again. Now, according to the documentation, we can count something, okay? You see this? This is a function we can call on the fruit. Now, let me call count and see what it has. Now, it is asking me to count the value. So it returned the number of occurrence of value. So let's see. I want to count the number of times pawpaw appears in this list. That is all I'm trying to do. And it says that we have pawpaw being 3 in this list. Is anybody confused about this? Or any questions? Okay. So this is tuple. Tuple is just similar to the list, okay? Just that it won't allow you to update it, okay? We'll hardly come to tuple. Yeah, Caleb.
Yeah, Pasty.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, I noticed you are using single quotes in the list. Is there a reason for that?
Okay, so you can choose to use single quote or double quote. It doesn't really matter in Python. The important thing is that it's in quote, so it can be single or double.
Okay.
Okay. Now, look at this one too. This is a tuple. Yeah.
With the let's the if you go back to the ID, let's say you want
Okay.
to pick elements. You give an example of picking elements. If let's say you want
Okay.
to pick elements of, let's say there's 1 and then there's 5, you don't want to pick the 2, 3, 4. How do you then go about that?
If I want to do, what is that?
Like
I'm not getting you.
you want to pick mango and pawpaw.
I
You don't
want
want
to
to pick
pick
mango and
mango
pawpaw
and pawpaw. Okay.
out of the list. You don't want to pick banana and the other
I
pawpaw.
don't want to pick banana.
Yes.
Okay, so very soon we'll be talking about loops. We have something like a for loop. Okay, we'll use that.
Oh, okay.
All right. So if we encounter something different, there is a keyword called continue, where it allows us to skip.
Okay. I thought that
So
was a
yeah,
way of using indices to pick them. Sorry.
yeah. So don't worry. Immediately we get there, we are going to handle that.
Okay.
In fact, we are doing all of these things because of data cleaning. Had it not been data cleaning, we would not be doing most of the things we are doing here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so immediately we get there, we'll talk about it. Okay. So like I said, the tuple is just similar to the list, but this time around, the values cannot be changed. But of course, assuming I had this tuple, let's say tuple, okay, I had a list, let's say items. And according to the tuple, it's similar to the list. The list uses square brackets. But look up here. This guy doesn't use square brackets. Okay. It uses, I don't know, I don't know how it's called. Is it the brackets or something? I don't know if that's how it's called. Someone can assist. How is it called? Is it bracket? Just bracket?
I think so. Normal bracket.
Parenthesis. It's for parenthesis.
Yeah. Parenthesis. Is it this one? How is that one different from this guy? This one.
We have square brackets, curly brackets, and
That one is the. Okay, so this is a curly bracket. Okay, that's nice.
Yes.
That's
and
nice.
the other one, the list
I
one
don't
is
really
square brackets. It's
square
actually
brackets. Yeah,
confusing.
that
So
one
that's
I know.
it.
Okay, it does confuse me sometimes, but anyways. So let's say that I'm trying to create a tuple. So let me call this name tuple. This is a keyword. So let me do items and say I have this tuple. Hello, and then world. Now you remember by definition, we are saying that tuple here is unchangeable. So assuming you wanted to change something, and I think, okay, let me come back here and then show you something. Although you look through the documentation, but there is one other thing here I have to show you so that you get to appreciate it. Now, look at the very first item. If I call fruits and say 0, what am I expecting?
Mango.
Mango. Okay. Now, what if I want to change mango from the small m to big M? I just want to replace this value here with something else. So I can first select fruits, this, which happens to be this, and then reassign the value to something else. So I'm going to say that, hey, grab the fruits. I'm interested in the very first one. The first one is mango. Replace it with this mango. And that's it. This is acceptable. So if I call fruits now, you can see mango is now big M. Now, in the case of tuple, if I do something like items, and I want to even grab this one, you see it's giving me this. But let's say I want to change it. You see, by definition, we are saying that it is unchangeable. Let's say I want to grab items 0 and say I want to keep this guy here to be word. It's blowing up. It doesn't support assignments. It doesn't allow you to change anything. So now, my question is this. Do you have any idea how we can add something to this list or this tuple? Anybody with an idea? You shouldn't be worried about the code to write, but I want to see from a logical point of view, how do you think we should go about it? Ignore the code totally, but from a logical point of view, how do you think we should go about this by this one? Anybody? Should I get to the list? Okay, so Caleb, you have your hands up. Are you going to respond to us?
Yes. So I'm thinking we reassign it to a new tuple and then add what we want to add to it. That's
so,
what
like, okay, give me an example. Like how?
So we can say items equal.
And
then we say
a
hello.
New tuple.
Yes.
So let me grab
say hello.
everything here.
Yes.
And then we add.
And then we add what we want to add to it.
Okay, so new item. So this is what someone is saying. Of course, that's okay. So assuming you are building your system or you are building your AI model, and anytime you have to add something to the tuple, for example, you have to recreate it and put all of your items in. Do you think that's going to help? I think it's going to be time wasting and it will take a lot of space too. So can we think about another approach? But I think that's a good try. At least we know how to add something to this one. Any other person?
Hello, Caleb.
Yeah, come in.
Yes. So I was thinking, how about we convert it to is it a list? Then
okay, good. So let's see. If I grab the fruits, okay, you know we can get the data type of fruit by typing type, right?
Yes.
What is the type? It's a list. And you know, this is what we always use. So let's say I want to convert the items here to a list. So items list. What do I do? I just have to say list, then put all of my items in it. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Now remember, now that we have a list, we can now append. Do you see? We have this guy. Oh, where is it? We have this one. So this guy here is now a list. So I can just say dot append. Do you see? If I do this, append, I can now append anything I want to add to it to say new item. Does this make sense? Maybe this is confusing you. I can bring it down like as a new thing, like items underscore list dot append. Then I can append something to it, but I don't want to bring it to the next line. So I can just say, hey, there is a guy called dot append, because immediately I wrap this guy here around the list, everything here changes to be a list. So I can now call anything that can be called on list. So now that I have this, now tell me, what is the data type of items list? Can anybody take a guess?
It's a list.
So this guy is now a list, but you see, it is giving us a non type, and that's the simple reason here is we are trying to lump everything here together. But simply, let me grab this and say that, hey, you know, we said this is tuple. Okay, let me create a new tuple, say x. X is equal to 1, 2, 3. You know, if I call the type of x, it is telling me it's tuple. That means there is a way to convert everything here to a tuple. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So if I say tuple, this. So I hope you understand what's happening here. So sometimes when you're reading someone's code, you see the person putting a lot of things together like this. This is how it works. First, you converted these items to a list. After converting, he added something to it. So everything here becomes more like a list. Now he's going to convert everything back to a tuple. And that's what you see over here. So you keep experimenting. If you get yourself into trouble, you try to work around it, all of these things, okay? So more like this, we are getting ourselves into trouble. We just have to find the best ways out. Okay. It's as simple as that. So let's try and then see. Let me get everything here back to normal. So I can say item list is equal to give me a list of items. And so therefore, if I grab the type of item list, I'm getting a list. Do you see? Okay, good. Now that I have a list, I can append to it. Item list, I want to add new item to it. So let me call item list. So I have these things. But is it not possible that I convert everything here to a tuple? So let's say my items is now a tuple of that. And so therefore, if I try to grab these items here and say I need the type of items, it is giving me a tuple back. So whatever thing that just happened here is the algorithm. How do you move from the start to this point? That is the algorithm. Okay. So first we got this. Second, we converted it to list. We added anything we want to add to it. Then we converted it back to tuple, so that we can work with it. All right. So if you want to see the list of operations you can perform on tuple, we have references here to guide you on that. So the next thing is set. Now set is very interesting. Now, okay, we have a set data type. In fact, honestly, I like this set so much, this data type, because it reduces my workload. Now, for example, let me grab fruits. What do I have here? You see fruits, I have mango, banana, pawpaw. Now, in data analysis, you know there is duplicate here, right? Do you see that there is duplicate here?
Yes.
Okay. But you see, this is a list, and the list accepts duplicates. Now, let's say I want to convert this thing here to something we call set. So let me say set. I want to convert the fruit to set. So let me say fruit set. So let me print this guy. Do you see? And now removes this guy and this guy out, and then keep only one. So you can see that set here is very important when you are trying to clean your data. So you can grab a particular column. If they are duplicates in, you pass it to set, and it's going to get you the right thing. But right after passing it to set, you can convert this guy here back to list if you want. You can grab this guy here back to list. So you remove all duplicates from it. But of course, there is a better way of removing duplicates. So you don't have to worry so much about this. So pandas can handle duplicates better, and it's actually faster than this. So if you want to add something to it, just like the append in set, we can do add. If you have two different sets and you want to put them together, you can call the update method on it. Okay. Please, if I just didn't take you through some examples because I feel this is self-explanatory, right? But if for any reason you don't understand something here, you can just alert me and we're going to put it in practice to see how it really works. But like we've seen so far, when you have a list and you do append this, it adds something to it. And so therefore, when you come here saying that we have a list of this and you want to add something new to it, instead of append, we use the keyword add. Okay. So for example, if I had this set, say new set, and this is the new set. So you see the list uses the square brackets, one uses the parentheses, and then the set uses this one, the braces. So if I have, say, hello, and I had this called world, and then I want to add something to it, there's a new guide, a new set dot, you hit the tab, and it can tell you all of the items you can pick from. Okay, so you can see that we don't have anything called append here. Do you see? But we can call difference, we can call intersection, we can call anything. So let me say set one. Okay, so set one is numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, just anything I want to type. Then I have set 2. Okay, now set 2 is this, just anything I want. Okay, now if I call set 1 dot tab, now this is telling me that I can actually get the intersection of set 1 and set 2. All right, let me test that. Intersection. Now what should I keep here? I just hit my shift and tab. It's loading, so but let me pass set 2 to it and see what happens. It tries to give me the intersection of set 1 and set 2, saying that, oh, it can identify 2 in this one and this. It can identify 3 here, and then 5 over here and here. So this is how you can use or call all of the methods on it. Okay, but like I usually do, I try to provide you a list of references where you can call them to experiment with. Then we have, I think, the last one in the data types called dictionary. Now, dictionary is so simple, just like what you see over here, but the difference here is that if you want to create a dictionary is about keys and then values, so more like a key value pair. So for example, look at this. We said, let me come from the list perspective. Let me put ages. Okay, ages. Let me put 23, 34, 67. Now, you see, if I want to grab age 23, I have to do ages, then 0. Now, the question is, whose age is this? Or is there any other way we can grab the 23 without using this index numbers? And that is where the dictionary comes in. So the dictionary is more like this. I can say humans and say that, hey, I want to keep keys and then their values. So I'll say human John. Now, what is John's age? 23, comma. I can say Amma. What is Amma's age? 19. Then what is maybe Ishmael? I'll say Ishmael is maybe 56. Now, if I call humans, you see, we have John being 23, Amma 19, Ishmael being 56. Please hold on. Yeah, hello. So sorry about this. So quickly, so now that we have the humans dictionary, what we are going to do is we want to look at how to access the values from this. Now, can anybody tell us how we can access each of the values? Like John is 23, Amma is 19, and Ishmael is 56. Now, if you're struggling, I have provided a list of methods that you can call on this one because, of course, we can't handle all of these. Okay, we simply can't. So what we can do is we have humans, as usual, dot and then tab. It can tell you everything you can fetch. For example, items. If you do items, it's going to give you each and then its associated value. We also have something like humans.keys. This is supposed to give you the key, which is like the names, like name John, Amma, Ishmael. And we also have one called values. Now, these are supposed to be the values, and these are the keys. So if you call values, it should give you the values here. And I've documented everything here, like this, saying that we have these regions, Ashanti, Kumasi, and then Volta being this. So if you want to access, if you want to add up to it, this is how you do it. You can create the region. So for example, you want to add a new human. So I can say that humans, I want to create a human with the name Joyce and provide the age 45. So if I now call humans, you can see that I have Joyce attached to it. So it's just similar to how we add something to, or we change for the list. Okay. So if you want to get the items, the keys, and then the values, so for each one of them, this is the associated result. Now, operators is very simple. This one, we are not going to spend even up to 5 minutes on it, and we should be off. This is operators. We have mathematical operators like the plus, the minus. This is division, like modulus, exponent. Okay, so you can be experimenting with this one. So for example, if you have a value that is supposed to be operators. So if you have something like x being 23, and then we have y being 12. If you do x plus y, now this guy over here is what we are calling the operator. So we have all of these operators here. We have the assignment operators where we can, you see all this while we've been doing assignment. X is equal to 23. Now this equal to here is an assignment operator. Now the plus equals something is, you want to increase whatever value is there by that value. So if I should pick, this is 35. If I do X, what should I get? Any idea? What is X?
23.
23.
X is 23. What if I do X plus equals 3? All I'm trying to say is that now grab X. Do is equal to pick X plus 3. So that's the shorthand for doing this. X plus equals 23. That's the same as doing this. So of course, X is 23. So it will pull in 23 here and then add 3 to it to be 26. So it's just the same as trying to do this. And that's the exact same thing with examples here. Okay. And the comparison operator, two equal to symbols. We have A to be 33, B to be 200. We want to check if A is the same as this. Remember, 1 equal to is an assignment operator, but when we put 2 together, we are trying to compare two different things. So I think this example here was supposed to be here. Because this is not assignment. Assignment is this. This one here is comparison operators. I'll remove it. So comparison to, you can check if something is greater than the other or less. Okay. So we have A to be this and B to be that. We want to check if A is greater than or equal to B. And the result is going to give you whether true or false. Okay, so the statement here is actually true because A, which is 201, is bigger than 200. Then we have logical operators. So you can see that over here, we're checking just one condition, if A is bigger than or equal to B. But with the logical operators, we can use it to check more than one condition. So we want to check if A is bigger than or equal to B, which is true. And at the same time, B is bigger than 200. And this gives us false because, of course, A is bigger than and equal to B, which is true. But B is not more than 200. B is 200. So it makes this statement here false. And that's what we have here. So this is all about operators you need to understand. Then we move to the last and then we leave here. Any questions so far with what we've done? Any questions? All right. Now we have controls. Okay. Controls is more like, without controls, the programming whole thing will not make sense like that. But if you have controls, it allows you to do or make certain decisions. So in computer programming, controls are everywhere. Controls are everywhere. So you may want to check if this is this, you do this. It's more like you're making decision. If this is that, then I would want to do this. If this happens, then do this. So let's look at this one. If a student scores above 90, then we are going to assign grade A. This is the decision we make in the academic environment every day. If the student scores above 75, it is B. If you score above 65, it is C. So this is how we do it. We first of all start with the if, then the condition we want to test. Remember, we have tested some of the conditions here. This is what we are talking about as condition. We have one also here, if this is that. Okay. So if this condition here turns out to be true, then we are going to run this code. So a typical example is this one. Look, we have a number which is 10. Now we want to check if that number is bigger than 0. So is this condition here going to be true or false?
True.
Hello? So this condition is going to be true. So once this condition is true, it is going to run this block of code. So an example is this. So let's say number is equal to 10. Now we say if this number is bigger than, say, 0, then I want to do something. Mind you, you see where the cursor is? The cursor is not at the starting point. It is somewhere in there. They will want to print something saying that, oh, 10 is bigger than 0. If this is true, then we want to run this. So you see, because this condition here is true, it went ahead to run this. So this is actually what's happening. Now, on the other hand, if this condition here turns out to be false, it will not run. It will just jump out of the code. So look at this. It checks this is true. It comes to run this code. It checks. Is -5 bigger than 0? It will say no. So it won't come here. It will just step out. So let me show you another one. So if the number is less than, so is 10 less than 5?
No.
And 10 is less than 5. Okay, so all we are doing is that we want to test if this condition here is true, then it should come and do this. If it is not true, it shouldn't do anything. So let's run this and voila, we are not getting any output because this condition is not true. And that is what we have here. So I have several examples here to say that if A is bigger than B, and at the same time, B is bigger than 100, then we want to print this statement. And because this condition here is true, that is why we have this result over here. And mind you, I got this editor here. I got it from, you see, programming. Oh, these people have got a very nice editor I've been using. I've recommended this website for you guys to learn a few things. So let me come to, and there is another one called good. Let me go to try it yourself. I want to show you something. So this is why I've been writing the codes. So I go like maybe number is equal to 10. So if this number here is greater than 20, then what do I want to do? I want to print maybe, sorry, hooray, like this. So I run it and then the output is supposed to be here. So this is what I've been doing. I run it here. If it's correct, then I pull it and then bring it here. So this guy here, you can see credit, W3 schools. So that's where I've been doing that. And this guy here too has got a very wonderful, let me go to Python tutorials and let me say I'm interested in type conversion. Let me select that. It's a bit slow. So if this is less than 20, then give us the hooray. So you see this one. Let me go to run code. And I've been using this editor too most often. So you realize that most of the things you were seeing something like this. So for those of you who haven't installed the editor yet, you can use this one here for your practice. You write the code here, you run, and it shows up here like that. So if I run this right now, oh, this thing is a bit slow. Voila, so you can see the hooray here. So when you see this ones, that is where it's coming from, okay? And mind you, you have to pay attention to this little space I have here because it's very important. So you see, let's say that if this condition here is not true, then what do we do? More like what we had here. You see, it couldn't give us anything. But what if we wanted to still handle it? So we are saying that if this number here is less than 5, do this. Otherwise, I want to do something else. Otherwise, I want to print, this, okay? And that is where the issue of if else comes in. That's where the issue of if else statement comes in. So this is the first one. You see, you run this, it will fail. You won't get anything here. So you notice that it didn't print anything on the screen. And that's because the condition is false. And so therefore, it couldn't execute this block. Now we can add the else block to say that, hey, if this one here is not true, come and run this one. And that is exactly what I have over here. So if I should run this, you remember the first one, we didn't get anything. And now we are getting sorry because we are trying to handle this and at the same time handle that. But trust me, in practice, you will test more than one condition. Like you have just one condition, and if this condition fails, you do this. No. Sometimes you have to test series of conditions, and that's where we have the if-elif statement. So look here, just the same thing. I'm trying to build up on this one. You see over here, we came 2 times, and then we came here more than twice. So this is the first condition. Otherwise, come and check this condition. Otherwise, check this condition. Otherwise, if everything here fails, you come and run this. Now, any question? Any question? Okay. So the next steps. So far, this is what we've been able to do today. We've looked at the fundamentals of Python programming, where you were able to create variables, you were able to write some few comments. Now, we've been able to touch on data types, where you've seen something about numerical data types like integer, string, and the likes. We've also seen something like list, tuple, set, dictionary. And we've also looked at how to even convert from one data type to the other. In addition, we've looked at operators where we can do assignment. And we've also checked comparison operators where we used to check if the condition on the left is the same as what we have on the right. Now, we've also looked at conditionals where we use if statements to make decisions. So we said, if this condition here executes to be true, then you run this block of code. But if it is not, then you have to go and run another block of code. So far, this is what we've been able to do. God willing, tomorrow, when we meet, we are going to look at loops. And in loops, we'll be talking about the for loop and the while loop. There are other loops like the do while loop, but that is not necessary for us. Of course, if you have time and you would want to know how to do the do while loop, that is fine. But this is not a software development class or a web app development class. So there are a lot of things we may not need or we may never use. And so therefore, for the sake of time, we'll skip those things. Now, second, we'll talk about functions, how we can create our own functions. Now, you realize that at this point, you were calling a function called print. You were also calling a function called type. You were calling a function called length. Okay, these are functions Python have created for us to use. And we are going to learn how to create our own custom functions to do some things for us. Now, we'll also go ahead and talk about object-oriented programming. Here we'll talk about the concept of classes and objects and how to even instantiate a class object. Then finally, we'll talk about modules. Now, modules becomes necessary because in your machine learning bit, you are going to keep importing stuff. So for example, there may be some things that are not readily available over here. You have to import. So you do something like import maybe NumPy. You do something like import pandas. Okay, sometimes you don't import just a single thing. You can do maybe how do I even call it? If you want to do plot, you may want to call the pyplot, which is found in the matplotlib library. So you see that over here, we just called one thing, the name of the file, and then we were able to handle it. This one too, just the name. But over here, we are interested in something within this class. Okay, we will look at all of these in the modules section. And when we are done with that, then we can say goodbye to our programming class. But of course, we'll keep developing it as we go through the pandas. But when you start doing pandas, you'll be writing if statements and you'll be writing if statements and for loops and the likes. You'll keep doing that. All right. Now, I have some interesting reading assignments here for you guys. Please just take your time and then go through. I think you've seen what programmers look like. It has got a built-in interpreter that allows you to run your code on the fly. Okay, like this. It allows you to run your code on the fly. So we also have W3 schools that allows you to write your codes and then run it in the browser. And so therefore, these are materials that I'm recommended for you. We have the Java Point that also provide detailed tutorials on that. So you see Python at W3 Schools, it gives you all of this. Okay, so this is what we'll be doing tomorrow. The while loop, the for loop, the functions, the classes, and the modules. We'll be leaving most of them out. If you go to Java Point, these are Python tutorials trying to show you how to handle each one of them, how to even create it. Just that it looks funny, but it's okay. Then we have some YouTube videos here that can also guide you. And let me do something like a quick search. Oops. Oh, no, not this guy. So let me put this one here. So you can see that this is a list of this Indian guys. So you see we have a lot of lessons over here for you. If you want to look at data types, you can click on this one and it teaches you about data types and how to handle it. So you can see what's happening here. The only difference is that he's using the default Python IDE. So it looks funny. So let me call Python. Where is that IDE? Where is it? It's not this one. There's one Python IDE that looks very funny. I don't know. It's been years. I've not been using it. But anyways, that's what he's trying to use. But he's got a good material over here that can help you in your Python journey. But he is focusing more on web development. So you can see some model view templates, and you may not be interested in all of this. Okay. Then, right after the reading assignment, I have this assignment here, hands-on assignment for you guys. You are not going to submit it, but it tries to assess your knowledge level in the variable creation, or all of the things that we did, how to create variables, how to handle data types, operators, and then conditionals. Now, I have a few information here for you. Presentation of assignment results. So God willing, tomorrow morning, we are going to randomly select 2 people to present their work before we start the day's activity. Okay, so it is about this. So you try as much as possible to lay your hands on it, solve all of these. That can guarantee that, hey, you really understand what we've done. So that God willing, tomorrow morning, I'll just go through this list. I'll go through this list like this, and then select someone at random, and the person take us through. In fact, we don't have anything right, wrong, whatsoever. Just share your screen. Let us see what you did. That is all we are interested in. If there are issues, we help you correct it. Then we'll move on to the day's activity. So, yeah, God willing, tomorrow we are doing Introduction to Python Programming 2. Any questions? Any questions? Hello? Are you there?
Yeah, Pasty. Yeah, we are not going to absorb it and aspect.
Lisa, can
Come
I
again?
ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Hello.
Please, you can ask your question. Hello, are you there?
I think the network just dropped.
Okay. So guys, this is for today. God willing, tomorrow we'll continue. Thank you very much for the time. I think I have to leave you. Yeah.
Pasty, are we going to get this folder?
The folder, yeah.
The folder
okay. For today, I don't know, cause I don't know. Have you if you've installed Anaconda, of course I can just ship it to you guys.
Yeah, I think most of us have done that, and because we're all trying to listen, if we get this, it will be beautiful.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So yeah, Nick.
So still on the Anaconda, it has installed it, but it's not able to launch the Jupyter Lab.
You say you are still on the Anaconda?
I've installed it, but it's not able to launch the lab.
Can you share your screen? Can you share your screen so that we see what the issue is? Okay. So you have Jupyter Lab running. Do you see? Close running application. You have Jupyter Lab running. So it opens in the browser. So go to files. No, open the browser. Go to files. Yeah. So this is your environment. You can create a folder in here. So folder, look at your far right, you see new. So this is Jupyter Notebook folder. So you can create a folder for your class, then every other thing. So you can decide also not to create it. I'll send you the folder. You just drop it in here and you can open and work in it.